Minecraft. You've probably heard of this game considering it's the highest selling video game of all time, with over 200 million sales. Released on May 17, 2009, Minecraft reached enormous heights and has changed so much over time. Recently, one of my friends played Minecraft for the first time, which reminded me of the overwhelming experience Minecraft is for new players. So I decided to make a new series on my channel called All Things Minecraft. In this video, I'll be teaching you the basics of Minecraft survival. When creating a new single-player world, the player is given the choice to set the world to one of three modes. They can choose to play in either creative, survival, or hardcore mode. In creative, a player cannot die, has the ability to fly, and access to all the blocks in the game, which makes it great for players looking to chill and build. In survival, a player will take damage. They can collect resources, fight off mobs, build a house, and even beat the game. Hardcore is basically survival mode, but on hard mode, meaning mobs can spawn in with better armor and weapons, deal more damage, and basically just make the game more difficult to survive. But if the players die once in hardcore mode, they will remain dead and will not spawn back into the world. Spawning into a new survival world, the first thing a player usually does is get wood, obtain stone, and create a set of tools. Each day-night cycle is 20 minutes long, an entire day lasting 10 minutes and a night lasting for 7 minutes. Wait, but that math doesn't add up. The 3 remaining minutes are split between dawn and dusk. As the night approaches, a new player's main concern would be surviving the fight against hostile mobs. Since Minecraft has a bunch of mobs, I won't be naming them all. The main overworld mobs that a player will encounter during the night are zombies, creeper, skeletons, spiders, and the occasional enderman. Assuming that your Minecraft version is using the 1.9 combat style, your best weapon will be either a sword or an axe. I personally suggest using an axe, considering you can't enchant either weapons yet, since it deals more damage, especially when used right. There are, however, advantages to using a sword. The sword has a shorter cooldown and can sometimes deal damage to more than one target in one hit, which makes it a good choice when dealing with multiple mobs. And trust me, there will be a lot of mobs. Either way, both weapons are good choices. So you'll notice this little bar that pops up on your screen every time you swing a weapon. That displays the weapon's cooldown. Generally, you want to time your hits so you can make fully charged attacks. Another thing that I want to teach you is how to deal crits to your targets. Critical hits or crits can be dealt while falling and deal 50% more damage. This means if you want to deal crits, you'll have to jump in order to do so. Crits are dealt based on the player falling, so you have to time your hits while falling and cannot do this, where you jump up and hit the target while jumping up, but instead while you're doing this, where you jump and hit while you fall. The game indicates that you dealt a critical hit when white sparkles show up around your target. So, remember this while playing in survival and you should be able to kill mobs just fine. Here are some tips to deal with specific overworld mobs. Creeper. They blow up when they get within 3 blocks of the player. One way to deal with them is just letting them blow up. I mean, as long as you run away while it's in the process of blowing up, you shouldn't take too much damage. Or with a combination of hits and running away so that you don't cause the creeper to blow up, and will eventually kill it. Skeletons. These mobs will carry a bow, which is a ranged weapon. Having a shield will be quite useful when you're dealing with these. And finally, the Endermen. I suggest that you avoid hitting them or even looking them in the eyes because these actions that I just listed will aggro them and they're pretty hard to kill since they sporadically teleport around and deal a lot of damage. If you absolutely need Ender Pearls, craft a boat and place the Enderman into it. While in the boat, the Enderman cannot attack you. I know this strategy feels a lot like cheating, but hey, it works. Or if you accidentally aggro an Enderman and you don't have a boat in your inventory, find the nearest body of water, or if you have a water bucket, place the water down. Water deals damage to Endermen, so they won't touch it, and you can chill in the water and hit it from there. Also, just by the way, if you see a baby zombie, you're dead. Those things are the worst. I still can't kill those. Or, if you aren't up for the fight just yet, you could craft a bed and sleep through the night. No mobs, no worries. Moving on. Once you obtain iron, you can craft a variety of new and useful items. Personally, the first thing that I craft is a bucket and the second being a shield. Following that, most likely a chestplate, pickaxe, axe, and the rest of my armor. In that order. But that's just my personal preference, and I'll provide you with my reasoning. I can fill the bucket with water just in case I need it when I fall or jump off a high structure, and I perform an MLG water bucket to avoid taking fall damage. Being able to MLG water bucket is a pretty useful skill. When you fall, you can time the placing of the water and in just 2 simple clicks, place the water down and pick it up. This is a pretty hard thing to do, especially on the first try, so you can create another single player creative row and practice this skill. When you first try, you can spam click your mouse when placing the water, but I suggest you learn how to time the placement of the water. This is a pretty cool trick, and I suggest that you learn it. Okay, on to the next item. The shield blocks damage from swords, arrows, and etc., but it can be disabled for a short time with an axe. Except you're in a single player world, so that's probably not something that you have to worry about. Except if you activate a raid, but otherwise you should be fine. The first armor piece most players craft is the chest plate since it provides the most armor bars. Armor bars can be seen at the bottom left of your screens right above your health. The more armor bars you have, the more hits it will take to kill you. Basically, you increase your defense with armor. Most players will craft iron armor to start off with. A full set of armor requires 24 units of the given material. A full set of iron armor will get you up to 7.5 iron armor bars, and diamond armor will get you to max armor bars. Also, gold tools and armor are basically useless since they have horrible durability, which is why most players don't use gold for tools and armor. Speaking of armor bars, at the bottom right part of the screen, you will be able to see your hunger bars. Walking, sprinting, and taking damage will lower your hunger. If your hunger bar isn't full, then you can't regenerate health. Once the hunger bar reaches 3 bars of hunger or lower, then you won't be able to sprint. Also, I recommend that you change the keybind for sprint to R since the left control button is a really awkward button to reach, or just use the double tap W to sprint. Okay, I get it. Those previous tips were really boring, but bear in mind, this video is a guide for absolute beginners. I've gone through very basic but important stuff that everyone should know, and I know. I haven't gone too in depth into a lot of topics that I've discussed, such as 1.9 PvP with crits, MLG water, and etc. But this video is supposed to be an outline of things that players should be aware exist, and if they want more details, well, they have YouTube after all. I'm pretty willing to go more in depth on certain techniques if there's enough demand for them. So I'm pretty certain this next topic will interest you guys. Diamonds. Yes, diamonds are in Minecraft and they make way better tools and armor than iron. You can find diamonds at Y level 11. The best method would be to mine down to that Y level 11 and then strip mine until you come across a vein of diamonds. You can see your coordinates if you do F and F3. And speaking of coordinates, knowing how to use them is a very important skill so that you can record the coords to your base and other important places and be able to find your way back. Basically, with coords, you have the x coordinate, the y coordinate, and the z coordinate. Yeah, you'll need to know some simple stuff about graphs. As a mates, math is everywhere. Okay, so if you've gone to elementary school, you've learned about two-dimensional graphs in the xy plane. Well, we also have this thing called the xyz plane. The y level indicates what height the player is at, the x is either west or east, and the z indicates either north or south. That's a basic overview for chords. We can also use F and F1 to get rid of the bars and the player slots on the screen so we can take a better screenshot with F and F2. And finally, we have F and F5, which we can use to change the perspective the player is viewing their character from on the screen. So, if you thought the Overworld was bad, don't worry, the Nether is worse. You can't place water in the Nether, and there's a lot of lava, so yeah, that's not the best combination unless you're aiming to burn to death. Also, I'll be discussing tips mostly based on 1.16 Nether. I'm honestly slightly scared of the Nether because of hoglins, which are basically just hostile hog mobs that deal a decent amount of damage and surprisingly, a lot of knockback. Piglins will actually attack hoglins since they have something against each other, I guess. Wearing some kind of golden armor in the Nether so piglins don't attack you, but they will still attack you if you mine gold ore or open any chest near them. You can trade piglins gold for random stuff like spectral arrows, obsidian, ender pearls, and more. Also, I saw this meme on piglins and it's been living in my head rent-free ever since, but I'll sell it to you guys so it can haunt your minds as well. Yeah, just take a second to look at this meme. You're welcome. Another nether mob is the zombie pigmen. Don't hit them because if you hit them, all of them will come and attack you, and believe me, there's way more of those things than you would expect. Magma cubes are pretty annoying since they will split into smaller magma cubes when killed. They attack by jumping, so if you have a block above your head, they can't deal damage to you. If you ever get stuck in a situation where you need to avoid taking damage from magma cubes, just build a small shelter and they can't attack you. Ghasts are these big, ghostly flying mobs. They spit out fireballs at players, which can be hit back at them. You're either in the Nether for one of two things: the fortress or netherite. Wither skeletons will spawn in nether fortresses, and they have wither effect, which can deal continuous damage to you over time. Blaze spawners are also found in nether fortresses. Blazes shoot flames at the player, so be ready to deal with those. Also, axes deal more damage to blazes than swords. I told you the axe is superior. The Nether has different biomes, such as the red forest biome, which is inhabited by pigwins and hogwins, the blue forest biomes, where you can find endermen, and the basalt deltas, where you'll find magma cubes, to name a few. Also, striders are a type of mob you can ride in the Nether. They can walk on lava, which is pretty useful in the Nether. You'll need a saddle and a carrot on a stick, and a warp fungus if you want to go faster, to use them as a means of transport. So the second most important thing in the Nether is netherite. You can strip mine, but that takes too much time, so players have developed new ways to mine in the Nether with beds or TNT. Also, beds explode in the Nether and in the end, just so you know. Blast mining with beds has a bigger blast zone and cause a lot of fire. On the other hand, mining using TNT creates a smaller and easier to control explosion. I prefer using beds, but whether you use beds or TNT, make sure you know how to properly use them to avoid blowing yourself up. I'm definitely not speaking from experience here. Once you make it back to the overworld and have enough ender pearls and blaze rods to go to the end, you'll need 8 blaze rods and 12 ender pearls just to be safe. You can throw the eyes of ender to locate the stronghold. Once you find the stronghold, find the portal room and place the eyes of ender in the frames. You can go to the end and beat the Enderdragon. There's 2 different strategies that I know of to beat the Enderdragon. One strategy is to destroy all the end crystals and gradually deal damage to the Enderdragon to kill it, and other strategy is called one-cycling the Enderdragon. The Enderdragon flies down to the moat and cycles. Speedrunners took advantage of this behavior by using this opportunity to place 4 to 7 beds and explode them to deal a large amount of damage to the dragon and kill it before it flies off again. You have beaten the game once you killed the dragon. Credits will play on your screen after you kill it, but you can skip the credits by pressing the ESC button. Except I suggest that you read through them on your first time because they're pretty cool and there's a pretty good storyline. After you've killed the dragon, you can pick up the dragon egg. There's an entire method behind picking up the dragon egg too, but I won't delve too deep into that. And you'll notice that a gateway has appeared to the end city. You'll need at least the very least 2 ender pearls to enter and exit, which won't be that hard since you're literally surrounded by endermen. This is where you can get sulfur cells or sulfur boxes and elytras. Also chorus fruit, which you can eat, and it'll teleport you to a random safe spot. I couldn't cover everything in this video, so if you want to add in tips about Minecraft, leave a comment below, and I'll go through them and heart the ones that I agree with. I'm also going to create more videos of this All Things Minecraft series, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll know when the next video in this series comes out. This is Paper Cane, and I'll see you in the next video.